Welcome to r/Bestof Redditor updates, where a woman wants to name her newborn baby Lolita. Our next Reddit post is from r/2x chromosomes. My husband and I have been married for 5 years. For some context, his siblings, a male and female twin in their early 20s, are underdeveloped physically and mentally. They can take care of themselves as far as wiping themselves, going to the bathroom, and feeding themselves, but they're rather weak, having brittle and fragile bones. And combined with their mental maturity, which is similar to that of about a 12 to 13-year-old, they have to be monitored, cooked for, assisted with going upstairs, moving around for long distances, etc. They cannot take care of themselves financially because of all this. I knew all of this when we were dating, but they were being cared for by a team of nurses and caregivers at the time, not in our home. But about a few months ago, the team was all fired. My husband told me that he was planning to move them in, and about a week or so later, they were moved in, along with a new team. I had no say or even much of a heads up about any of this. The house suddenly became full of staff. Someone was always there. Our privacy was basically snatched away. My husband already has a busy schedule. He's a doctor, on call a lot. And now I feel like we barely have time to ourselves. I'm competing with everything and everyone. We were about to start a family now that we're all settled. Things were good between us. But now everything's been thrown into chaos, and I don't know how to feel. I feel almost a sense of grief. I feel like I have no control over anything. I feel like he just threw away our future and plans, as cruel as that may sound. We had a talk, and everything was pointing towards a divorce, but I just feel so bitter. I feel like he's just giving up. He feels like I'm not being thoughtful enough. I love him more than anything, and I want to salvage our marriage if I can, before just making any snap decisions. Then, 1 week later, OP posted an update. After taking everyone's thoughts into consideration and taking some time to myself to think, I sat down with my husband when he was off call and told him I wanted to talk about everything that's happened. He told me that he wanted to talk too, and we had a raw heart-to-heart about everything. We discussed the main issue that I mentioned in my previous post. I told him that I felt hurt about him not consulting or even telling me about what was going on, and he sincerely apologized for it, telling me that he wasn't thinking about much else other than their situation, which I understood, even if it still made me feel a certain way. But then he told me that he needed to be honest to me about something, and that he understood that it may affect things between us, but that the whole situation with his siblings and their previous care team made him realize it even more. He became very blunt. He told me that while he loves me more than anything, he loves them more, and that he has to put them first from now on, above anything. He told me that he couldn't handle anything else happening, and that everything he's done, the cameras, moving in staff, was necessary. And while this of course hurt for me to hear, I realized some things. He might have acted selfishly at first, even if it was understandable. But my reaction could have been better, I admit. He was breaking down right in front of me, reliving trauma that reminded him of his childhood. And I was too busy in my own feelings to offer any true support. I felt awful about that. I didn't mention much of it in my previous post, but his parents were truly awful people. Their neglect caused the undeveloped and regressed state of the twins in the first place. And if my husband hadn't taken care of them while they were small, they possibly wouldn't have survived. They're very attached to him, almost like a small child with their parent. As painful as it was, I accepted that I couldn't come before their relationship. I did know about his legal obligation before we became married, so I obviously knew they were important to him. I have no bitter feelings towards the two. They're innocent in this situation, and are very precious in their ways in general. As for our future plans, we agreed that we would wait a few years, 3 max, before truly deciding if we wanted to have a child or not. He was also very receptive about having designated areas that were staff only and me only. It's also been implemented a bit, and I'm feeling a lot better about this already. And lastly, I realize that this may seem like a fool's option to some, but now I know of all the facts and where he stands, so anything that may happen from now on will be completely on me. I feel hopeful in my decision and not wanting to give up. For him and the marriage that I still value so much, I'm willing to give it a try and try to adjust to our new normal. Then, 2 years later, OP posted an update. A few months passed, then a year. Since then, we've been to marriage counseling, though working around his schedule is crazy. A few vacations, some with just us and some with his siblings, and we're in a much better place. We have evenings out and time to ourselves when it allows. The adjustment at first was difficult, but it wasn't as life-ending as I had been led to believe. My desire to have a child, for one reason or another, naturally started to fade. Even though the twins have full-time, around-the-clock care from an in-home nursing team, I started gradually spending time with them, sitting with them at breakfast, going out into the gardens with them, doing puzzles with them, listening to them as they talk to me about their favorite things and how much they love their father. Something happened that I never thought would. I started to fall in love with them in a maternal sense. I'm ashamed to say it, but I was skeptical that it was possible to grow such an attachment to older children that weren't your own, or to anyone that wasn't your spouse or actual children. I used to feel like I had no purpose. Even after marrying my husband, I couldn't decide what I wanted. Maybe that was why I waited so long into my 30s. My counselor also put an interesting thought in my head. Do you really want children, or are you looking for a purpose? As I said, my life used to be pretty uneventful. But now I'm so passionate about things such as disability awareness, child abuse awareness, and have gotten involved with so many foundations. With our wealth, I feel like I can actually do something. And I've wanted to be a children's book author. The twins really enjoy children's books, more so than chapter books. My husband and I have grown closer through our love for them. I may not be their mother, but I really do care for them. I don't have many conflicting thoughts about children anymore. I don't think I want any at all, and the feeling of indifference has been there consistently for a while now. I know some people will probably think that I'm an idiot, or that I was manipulated to now caring for them, or this was his plan all along, or something. But I'm truly happy with my life now and see a bright future for all of us. I just want to be with my husband, the twins, and continue to have a nice life. This is a really sweet story, and I don't want to get too distracted by that, but yo, the husband must be loaded! He can afford 24/7 care with multiple staff, a house that has multiple gardens with an S plural gardens, and can also contribute to multiple foundations. And it also, on top of all that, appears that OP doesn't have a job. This is a single income household, so this guy must be raking in the money, which is very lucky because the twins have the perfect brother here. He has the love and disposition to care for them and also the financial means to. Now, initially, I was more willing to pile on to the doctor and criticize him because, it seemed like he was putting his family over his wife. And that's always, generally a really terrible thing to do. But as the story went on, it came clear that it's not really love of siblings. It's more like love of his previous children that he brought into the marriage, which is much more understandable. He was definitely wrong, though, to surprise OP and bring in the siblings without even talking to her, but I guess all's well that ends well. Seems like they have an unconventional but happy family. Our next Reddit post is from r/relationship advice. Basically, my girlfriend and I have been dating for a bit over a year now, and have been seriously considering moving in together. Last night, we decided to go out for dinner to discuss it. We decided that I would move in with her once my lease is up in April. I texted my best friend, Jake, to tell him the good news. He told us he wanted to buy us a few drinks and for us to all crash at his place to celebrate. He said we could just meet up at his house and then Uber to the bar. We figured, why not, right? He's met her numerous times, and we all get along really well, but always while out somewhere or at my place. Never his house. Well, we get to his house, and my girlfriend says she really needs to use the bathroom before we start drinking, so her and I run inside. She sets her phone and purse on the table, and she runs into the bathroom. My buddy stayed outside in case the Uber showed up. My girlfriend's phone went off, and she asked me to check to see if it was her friend finally getting back to her about coming with us or not. My buddy is single, and she told me she would try to hook them up. Well, when I turned on the screen, I noticed that it showed that it was connected to a Wi-Fi network. I checked on my own phone, and all the Wi-Fi networks there have passcodes. I'm trying to see if there's any other reasonable explanations before I jump to conclusions. I was thinking maybe she used to date an ex that lives nearby, but she just replaced her phone about 3 months or so ago because her old one broke. I don't know what to do. I don't want to risk losing my girlfriend and possibly my best friend just because I'm freaking out about something so small. I don't know if I'm ready to lose both of them at the same time. Then, 4 days later, OP posted an update. I spoke with her 2 nights ago, and I was just straightforward and honest. I told her about how I saw her phone had connected to Wi-Fi, and I wasn't sure why it did that. She got quiet and didn't say anything for what felt like an eternity. Then she just said that she wasn't sure what it would have connected to, maybe a local shop or something. I would have maybe accepted this, but I realized that when we got back that night, she went to get a glass of water. I was sitting in the kitchen, and the very first cabinet she opened was the glasses. It could have been a coincidence that she guessed right, but at that point, I doubt it. She broke down and confessed that she had spent a couple of nights with him a few weeks ago, that he had hit her up on Facebook, and they only talked on there. She said that it was a mistake and purely physical, for fun. It's a lot to process right now. I've shut them both out, and I'm just trying to get a better hold on my feelings and emotions. I feel betrayed by both of them. So the cheating thing is pretty standard for Reddit. You know, there's a million cheating stories. But what really sticks out to me is OP is like a 200 IQ detective. I feel like probably 1 in 10 people would have noticed the Wi-Fi thing, if that. And then only 1 in 10 people would notice the cabinet thing. But OP picked up both because he's apparently Sherlock Holmes. Well, hey, at least OP figured it out before they moved in together. Our next Reddit post comes from rSlash. How do I tell my sister that she can't name her baby daughter Lolita? Oh my god. My sister, who's 37, is not the most well-read person. She gave birth to a baby girl yesterday. She's got 2 boys already and has wanted a girl for a long time. She just told me that they're naming her daughter Lolita. I just don't know how to process this, or to tell her that this is not a good or cute or edgy name. We don't have the closest relationship, and I'm her older sister and childless by choice. She often thinks that I'm boring or a stick in the mud. I worry that anything I say will just be eye-rolled at or make her stick to the name harder. Then, several hours later, OP posted an update. I've written her a message outlining my concerns. Hey love, I'm so happy and excited for you and the new little one. And I want you to know that I love and support you and that I'll always be there for you. This message isn't meant to shame or hurt you, but I want you to be making as informed a decision as possible. I wasn't aware of all the history of the name Lolita myself, so I looked it up and asked some advice of others better read than me. I wanted to share some thoughts on the name, not to tell you what to do, but just to make sure you have all the information. While it's a beautiful sounding name, Lolita carries some really strong and often unpleasant connotations. As I'm sure you're already aware, it's the title and the name of the 12-year-old girl in Nabokov's book and films. The book is about her sexual assault by an older man. The name has become synonymous with the sexualization and exploitation of underage girls. In the book, she's painted as a 12-year-old seductress, even though, of course, at 12, she cannot consent. And we're encouraged to sympathize with the P word. Beyond the book, the term Lolita is, of course, now a category of barely legal adult content. And more recently, Jeffrey Epstein named his private plane the Lolita Express, as if the name needed any further connection to child trafficking. I know how much thought you're putting into this, and ultimately, I'll love and support you and your baby no matter what name you choose. I just wanted to make sure you were aware of these associations, as they're pretty ingrained in pop culture and beyond. Let me know if you want to talk about it, and if this is your final decision, then I'll say no more and I'll support your decision. Then, the next day, OP posted an update. I sent her the message and got back gifts that said, "No one asked your opinion. And I'm searching for F's to give." And I was told that she doesn't give 2 shinies what I think. So I guess little Lolita is on her own. OP doesn't point out where this is taking place, but I think in some localities, if someone's going to name their kid something awful, you can actually notify the courts, and the courts will not allow the kid to be named that. The other advice I would give is to bypass the stupid, idiotic sister in this story and try the baby daddy instead. Maybe he'll be more open to reason, because the sister's lost it. Our next Reddit post is from rSlash Am I Overreacting? I'm a 24-year-old woman and my fiance is 26. We just recently had our first child. This has been a pretty big deal for us since I had a major pregnancy loss with our daughter in 2024. A couple of days ago, my fiance's aunt flew in from out of town to congratulate us and meet our son. When she got to our house, she kept making unsolicited jokes about this baby and my loss last year. My fiance told her multiple times to stop and got very serious about it. She, however, still refused to apologize to either of us and continued making jokes. I eventually told his aunt that I'm not going to allow her to see the baby anymore until she apologizes and proves to the both of us that she can be a mature adult. I made it very clear to her that I don't need empathy. I don't need her to support either of us through this, nor do I even need her to give us any grievances. All I need from her is to be excited for us in the present moment, not to compare it to the past. She got very angry when I told her this and yelled at us for being unfair and claimed we're taking her away from her own family. Am I overreacting? Also, my fiance is in agreement with me and is backing me up on this 100%. Then the next day, OP posted an update. My fiance's aunt is currently staying with his parents. Earlier today, my fiance went over to talk to her about it. I stayed home by choice for what I feel are pretty obvious reasons. He went over and explained to her that we're cutting all contact with her. She's not invited to our wedding, and she will never see our son again, etc. He told her that she crossed the line and that because of her actions, if we did receive an apology, we would have a hard time believing her apology was sincere. Obviously, much more was said. I'm just giving a more general overview. The part that threw me off even more was the fact that she had never even told my fiance's parents what happened. His parents were shocked and flipped out on her. They told her that her options were to go stay at a hotel and experience this area by herself or get a ticket to fly back home. None of my fiance's immediate family, his parents and two younger sisters, have turned on or blamed me. I am so lucky and thankful to have my fiance, as well as most of his family in my life. It's such a surprise in a Reddit story to have OP's entire family actually support OP instead of just being like, hey, you're wrong and we're all stupid idiots. Well, I guess it actually makes a lot of sense in this case because all of OP's in-laws also lost a potential grandson or niece or nephew in the miscarriage. So it does make sense that they would also be upset by the aunt's cruel words. That was r/Best of Redditor updates. And if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.